Hi, welcome to my law channel. Today I'm talking about dishonored checks and what influences or the circumstances surrounding a dishonored check. Now, first of all, what is a dishonored check? Dishonored check is when a check is presented for payment in the bank and the money isn't paid to the customer who presented the check. And what could lead to that? Why would the check be dishonored? Number one is if there's no sufficient funds in the account, or because the banker deliberately refuses to honor the checks. So let's go on. Now, this could be a civil or criminal offense. Dishonoring check is civil in the sense that the contractual relationship between the banker and his customer is breached. And when that is done, the customer is entitled to damages. It could also be a criminal offense when a customer issues a check to a third party to be paid some money for goods delivered or for services rendered or for some sort of thing, and there is no money in his account and he knows there's no money to the account, then he is liable criminally for false pretense, pretending to have money in his account. But however, if he gave the check to someone, to a third party to cash money, and the money was deliberately not paid to the customer, that is defamatory on the customer to the bank, and the customer is liable in damages against the bank. Now, I want you to understand that dishonoring a check is a universal offense, and the elements for establishing or instituting an offense and a litigation against someone is universal. So we'll go on. Now, first and foremost, if someone pretends to have money in his account and he doesn't, that's a criminal offense and is punishable in the criminal code applicable in Nigeria in section 419A, which flows down to section 419B of the criminal code. And section 419A provides for punishment for obtaining credit by false pretense or other fraud. Section 419A1 provides any person who by any false pretense or by means of any other fraud obtains credit for himself or any other person incurring any debt or liability, or by means of an entry in a debtor and creditor account between the person giving and the person receiving credit, is guilty of a felony and is liable to imprisonment for 3 years. The offender cannot be arrested without warrants unless found committing the offense. So, the punishment is 3 years imprisonment, a felony, and the person can be arrested only with a warrant, except if found committing the offense. Now I'll go further. Generally, it is the duty of a bank to honor its customers' check, but there are some exceptions. Now, the Court of Appeal in the case of Inuwa Mohammed Mai, Inuwa is INUWA, Mohammed is MOHAMMED, Mai is MAI, short for Mai versus Standard Trust Bank Limited. So Inuwa Mohammed Mai versus Standard Trust Bank Limited, reported in 2008, all FWLR, page 552, precisely at page 553 to 556. Now, generally, like I said, it is the duty of the bank to honor its customer's check. It was held in that case in Ratio 3 that generally it's the duty of a banker to its customer to honor and pay checks drawn on it by a banker, as long as it has in its possession at the material time sufficient and available funds for the purpose. Therefore, when there is sufficient and available funds in the customer's account and a check is presented but payment is refused, the holder is entitled to treat the check as dishonored, even if requested to represent. And the Court of Appeal relied on the case of IDE Chemists Limited versus National Bank of Nigeria Limited, reported in 1976 to 1984, 3 NBLR 111. Now, it was also explained in that case the nature of relationship between a banker and his customer. Generally, the relationship of a bank in Ratio 1, bank, customer, and a banker is contractual. In other words, a customer to a bank in relation to the business of banking is any person having an account with a bank or for whom a bank has agreed to collect items, and includes a bank carrying an account with another bank. Similarly, in law, the relationship between a banker and his customer has been described as that of debtor and creditor. When a bank credits their current account of its customer with a certain sum, the bank becomes a debtor to the customer in that sum, and on that other way round, when a bank debits the current account of its customer with a certain sum, the customer becomes a debtor to the bank in that sum. And this Court of Appeal relied on the case of Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, liquidator of Allied Bank of Nigeria PLC versus Okem Enterprises Limited, reported in 2004, all FWLR part 2110, page 116. And also the case of Yesufu versus NBLR 607. Yesufu versus African Continental Bank Limited, number 3, 1976 to 1984, 3 NBLR 607. So you see, the relationship between a banker and a customer is that of is the contractual relationship, and is that of creditor and debtor, like I said earlier. So what happens when a bank fails to honor his check? It's liable to the debtor. He has to pay some damages. So in the same case of Mai versus Standard Trust Bank Limited, reported in 2008, all FWLR, page 553, precisely at 555 ratio 4, the Court of Appeal held that a bank is bound to honor a check issued by its customer if the customer has enough funds to satisfy the amount payable on the check in respect of the relevant account, and the refusal to honor a customer's check will amount to a breach of contract which would render the banker liable in damages. The moment a banker places money to the customer's credit, the customer is entitled to draw upon it unless something occurs to deprive him of that right. For example, a check which has not been cleared. Where clearance is necessary, does not put the account in funds. Allied Bank Nigeria Limited versus the Court of Appeal relied on Allied Bank Nigeria Limited versus Akubueze. Akubueze is AKUBUEZE, reported 1997, 6 NWLR, part 509, page 374. And also the case of Union Bank of Nigeria Limited versus Unwoye. Unwoye is NWOYE, reported 1993 NLR. NWLR, part 435, page 135. So the only exception to when there's sufficient funds in the customer's account and the bank dishonors a check, like we just read, is only if the check has not been cleared. For example, where the customer of a bank is supposed to sign and he fails to put his signature. or where two signatures are required and one of them is missing, then the check is said not to be cleared and the banker will not be liable in damages. Now, say when a bank will be liable in damages for dishonoring a check. When can a bank be liable in damages for dishonoring a check? Still in that case of My versus Standard Trust Bank Limited, reported in 2008, all FWLR, at page 553, precisely at page 555/5, it was held that if a banker without justification dishonors his customer's check, without justification, dishonors his customer's check, the bank is liable to the customer in damages for injury to the customer's credit. However, except in the case of business customers, proof of actual injury to credit is very necessary to secure substantial damage. A customer-banker relationship is like that of principal and agent. A check drawn on a bank by its customer is an order of the principal, that is the customer, to his agent, the bank, to pay out the sum on the check to the payee endorsed on the check. So a refusal by a banker to pay a customer's check when he holds in hand, by the reason of keeping the account of the customer, a sum of money equivalent to that endorsement on the check amounts to a breach of contract, to which the bank is liable in damages. In the instant case, when the two checks were drawn by the appellant on the respondent bank, he had sufficient money to cover them as the amount in the check he had earlier deposited with the bank had been cleared and already credited to his account by the respondent. It is therefore wrong of the respondent when it refused to honor the checks drawn on it, since there was enough funds to cover the sums in the two checks dishonored by the bank. And the Court of Appeal relied on the case of Baker versus Australian and New Zealand Bank, reported in 1958, NZLR, page 907, and also the case of Ide is IDE Chemist Limited versus National Bank of Nigeria Limited, reported in 1976 to 1984, 3NBLR, page 111, and also the case of Balogun versus National Bank of Nigeria, reported in 1978, all NLR 63, and also reported in a different report, 1978, 3SC155. So we've been able to throw light on every angle in which dishonored check all the circumstances surrounding the dishonor of check and what will make a bank to dishonor a check. So we said this when the check is not cleared, and we threw more lights on circumstances in when a check is said not to be cleared. And then now I have to go forward to discuss about the damages. Now, it has been said that if a customer is just an ordinary customer, then he's just entitled to nominal damages in some cases. But if such a customer is known to be a trader, traders pay money, like maybe the trader pays money frequently or on a daily basis to the bank, then he's entitled to a greater damage, a substantial damage than a nominal damage. And that was the argument that the Supreme Court were going through in the case of Balogun versus National Bank of Nigeria, reported in 2009, all FWLR. And the Supreme Court went to give the exceptions in which an award of nominal damage in breach of contract of bankers' duty to honor checks drawn by his customers should be given. The Supreme Court said that besides giving nominal, like some sort of damages, light damages to a customer for dishonoring his check, that substantial damage has to be given to some class of persons. And the Supreme Court relied on the case of Rolling, ROLIN versus Steward, STEWARD, reported in 1854, 14 CB 595, and stated, and also the case of Massetti is spelled MARZETTI versus Williams, reported in 1831B and AD 415. The Supreme Court said that persons who are trading should have substantial damage, larger damages for breach, because when you write refer to drawer and they have enough funds in their account, you are indicted, you're slandering their image, you're making them, you've caused a defamatory damage on their reputation. Now, argument has been said that should a solicitor to be entitled to such damages? Now that depends on how frequent or how much money is to the customer's account and how much damages the person is likely to face, or how much damage has been caused by writing refer to drawer on the check. But the Supreme Court went generally to hold that it doesn't matter who it is or what happens, but the fact that every person who has been breached, whose contractual relationship has been breached by failure to honor its check, is entitled to damages. Because if someone has enough damages in its account and there is a dishonor of check, that is a damage on the person's reputation. And the case, like the case I mentioned, Balogun versus National Bank of Nigeria Limited, reported in 2009, all FWLR, page 447, page 427, precisely at page 441, ratio 7. It says the statement RD referred to drawer in a dishonest check is defamatory of a customer, especially if there's funds in the account. Also, the endorsement RA or refer to the acceptor on a bill of exchange could be defamatory. The imputation in these circumstances from either the very act of wrongful dishonor of the check, where the customer has enough funds to make the amount on the check, or the endorsement RD thereon is indeed clear, and it is that the customer is dishonest and untrustworthy. The Supreme Court relied on the case of Zek. Zek is SZEK versus Lloyds. Lloyds is LLOYDS Bank Limited versus Pyke. Pyke is PYKE versus Hiberman. Hiberman is HIBERMAN Bank. Reported in 1905, IR 195, and the case of Millward. Millward is MILWARD versus Lloyds Bank. So, when RD is written on the check and there's sufficient amount to pay the amount on the check, and the check is dishonored, it can also be defamatory on the customer. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. It's been lovely having a good time with you, and I hope you have a very nice, splendid day. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and comment. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.